Hello, Player 3 here, winding the clock back to 1996, entering this franchise for the first time, in its first installment. That's right, it's Revelations Persona. As I said, Revelations Persona is the first installment of the Persona series of video games, Persona being a spin-off series of the Megami Tensei series, starting with Digital Devil Story Megami Tensei, followed by a sequel. Then came the Shin Megami Tensei titles, currently with numbered games up to 5, the most current being Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, having come out this year. Atlus, the developers of both series, created a spin-off called Shin Megami Tensei If in 1994, changing the focus of the threats posed in the parent series to if they were set in a more localized area, such as a town or a single high school. The popularity of this game sparked 2 game franchises, Devil Summoner, with its most recent release being Soul Hackers 2 in 2022, and Persona, having grown so large in popularity that its sales have surpassed that of its parent franchise and has nearly more releases than both Devil Summoner and Megami Tensei combined, branching out to include fighting games and even rhythm games under its title. The most recent release being Persona 5, The Phantom X, itself being a spin-off of the spin-off series Persona. But the first one, Revelations Persona, as it was called for the localized version, the United States, released on the PlayStation, this is the version I played. Beyond the conception of the Persona franchise, Revelations Persona itself began development almost 2 years before its release, just the story itself taking about a year and going through 20 drafts. Beyond the storyline, the characters, their visage, and their personalities were fondly remembered in an interview with director Koji Okada, writer Tadashi Satomi, and character designer Kazuma Kaneko recalled who the main characters were based off of a year after the game's release. Most from idols, musicians, or actors they knew, some from literature, and some from within Atlus, part of the development team. Locations themselves even being inspired by outside sources, such as the Velvet Room, where Igor can summon or create new personas for you, having been based off of the Black Lodge from Twin Peaks, and even the name and color of the room, a blue velvet room, referencing another of David Lynch's works, Blue Velvet. That's all I got for the development side. There's a lot more to cover within the game itself, so let's dive right in. The game opens to a pretty eerie movie sequence, accompanied by just as eerie music, following a golden butterfly across a series of stills of a Japanese town, and PlayStation quality graphic footage of a machine and then a school which turns into a toy next to a hospital bed. If that doesn't give you an idea of what a bizarre journey you are about to undertake in this game, I don't know what would. Then into the game itself, we are introduced to a series of high school students, you being one of them. Each student, upon speaking for the first time, is introduced to us with a few lines describing their personality, setting us up as if we've known them and what to expect them to do and say. We have us, which I've named Player 3, naturally, then sticking with the localized names, Mark, Nate, Brad, Alana, Ellen, and Yuki. After a series of arguments, we play a game called Persona. I'm getting ahead of myself. The manual also describes this main cast of characters in quite an extensive manual. The closer to modern day and more complex video games, the longer the game manuals have been getting, until manuals have ceased existing. But here, among the characters I've already mentioned, we will also meet Miss Smith and Guido the Rock Johnson. Sardinia. The controls are pretty well laid out here, the most confusing bit for me being navigating the menu in-game and trying to navigate the town Lunar Vale, Makage-cho in the original Japanese version. All of that plus the moon cycle and 90% of everything else the manual tells you I read, but almost immediately forgot since there was so much. But the best part that I retained from the manual was this: there is no limit for bullets, and bullets are never out of stock. Yahoo! God bless you, developers. Some true gamers who understand that they are already throwing a lot of information at us to dabble with in the game, and trying to keep track of bullets would be a nightmare on top of it all, especially for how often you get into battles. My god, that really would be a nightmare. It also briefly mentions demon types. It says there are 20 different types of demons. Here's a chart. You got it? Good. And there's probably at least 10 demons to each type. I'll go into that later, because there might be some spoilers. So, back to the game. Continuing the story, I used the quick start guide from the manual. After fainting while playing the Persona game after seeing an apparition of a little girl in white, and visiting Philemon in his own plane of existence, We all now have unlocked the ability to call upon our personas, a powerful version of ourselves, a mask to face our hardships for us, which we will soon come to know and need these personas, for Guido, head of sebec, has created a machine, the Diva system, the Dimension Variable Accelerator Machine, which Guido has made in attempts to become a god and destroy humanity. On our way to meet our hospital-ridden friend Mary on the opposite side of town now, during the visit, something strange happens to Mary. Guido has turned on the machine. Mary disappears, and the town has become infested with demons. This first encounter is a pack of zombies, which I'm not sure if they are saying that zombies are a form of demon, or they are just another entity that this Diva system has awakened entirely. But we have to fight them using our newly awakened stands, mine of course being Star Platinum. It really does look like it. Sadly, Nate's butler, Alfred, formerly the butler to the Wayne estate, is now dead. But we continue, heading back to the school, St. Hermelian High School, which of course is on the opposite side of town, and we get stopped every few steps, like finding Pokemon in the grass. Star Platinum, I choose you! Okay, I'm done with that. But now these look more like demons. Some of them look familiar, like this one that looks like Puss in Boots. But don't worry, they get weirder. In fact, let's put the spoiler warning up now, because I want to introduce to you all of them. So, if you would like to avoid spoilers and play the game for yourself, here's a timestamp to skip past all of the spoilers, which honestly at this point is going to be 90% of the rest of the video. Anyways, the demons. Okay, so to avoid having to read all of the names of these demons, which would take forever, and avoid having to butcher pronouncing even more Japanese names, which I've probably already done, and that you're already probably cringing at, sorry, I will show you them all, but point out some of the most memorable ones. I already mentioned Puss in Boots. From what I can tell, all of these demons are based on folklore, fairy tales, myths, and superstitions from history. Coming to think of it, that's probably where the zombies came from in all of this. The artwork itself has taken its own liberties, but the research this took is pretty impressive. So Puss in Boots here is apparently a Sith Lord haunting the Highlands of Scotland and steals people's souls. On the Megami Tensei wiki, it mentions this in-game version resembling Puss in Boots, which originates from a European fairy tale, so killing two folklore birds with one demon. Then the next strangest one, probably the strangest of them all actually, a toilet. Now you may be thinking, how in the world could this be from some folklore or whatever? Well, I'll tell you. This demon, Hanako, derives from a Japanese urban legend, Hanako of the toilet. This origin is debated, but regardless, it seems to revolve around a young girl dying in a toilet. So the story goes, this young girl haunts lavatories. Okay, but we're not done. Some of the most bizarre looking demons, like Arachne here, have a more simple story, her being based off Arachne from Greek mythology. You also have an angel, probably a fallen one, I don't know. A gremlin, dark elf, Cupid, a poltergeist, a succubus, nightmare. Hold up, I need to look him up. According to medieval and early modern European folklore, a nightmare was a supernatural creature believed to cause bad dreams. So this entity known as a nightmare would cause terrible dreams, now known as nightmares. Okay, who else? We have the Master Chef, Nisroch, an Assyrian deity. Mentioned in the Bible, what? Really? Master Chef demons in the Bible. The chief cook of hell, huh? You know, you learn something new every day. Okay, last one, then we move on. I can't wait to read up on how invisible basketball man named Dribbler is from folklore. Dribbler is based on those who play basketball. That's what it says. Okay, so it's just an invisible basketball player. Nice. So not all of these demons are from folklore, but 99% of them are. So after spending half an hour to just get across town, we reach the high school, which thankfully is a safe haven from the demon attacks. Nate and Mark split off briefly after we stopped at the shrine and found Mary's mom wounded from Guido. This is where we learn that Guido was behind all of this, and about the Diva system. At the school is where the game can split off between a main storyline and an alternate Snow Queen storyline. The Snow Queen route was not available in the original US localized release, so I'm not going to bring it up, since that was the version I played and I have no way of accessing the Snow Queen route. Look it up or play it for yourself if you wish. It seems pretty cool. But with the main story now, Mary is completely fine, demanding that she was never in the hospital to begin with, even though we had not too long ago seen her bedridden in the hospital. But now that we know Guido was behind this, it's time to stop him. But first, we have to rescue Mark, who is trapped at the police station. Another thing that Mary says here that didn't really cross my mind until viewing my playthrough back. A lot of foreshadowing is going on here. In the police station, which is all twisted around, I must say, whenever demons surprise attack us from behind and the party turns around to fight backwards, that's a really nice touch. So back to the school, but it has apparently entered the void, along with Big Ben, a mine temple, and I don't know what those other two structures are. So let's go all the way across town, because I'm lost at this point. Okay, we need to go into Sebec. But Sebec is surrounded by police and impenetrable, so there must be another way in. Ah, there is. An abandoned factory where Alana is just hanging out in, but god damn, her theme song is fire. Once inside the factory, it is another twisted maze of a place. There is a safe haven called the Fountain of Youth, where this pixie Kelly will heal all of us. And next door is the aforementioned Velvet Room with Igor. Further into Sebec, and after collecting more weapons and supplies, we find Guido and his top minion, Tiny. Oh, great. He has his own persona. Okay, that's okay. He wasn't that bad. I love these little quips each character say when they fight. Whether it's something they say when pulling out their persona, or shooting a gun, or using their melee weapon. I may have been mishearing some, but from what I heard, I love Brad saying, "What's up?"
What's up?
Alright, we made it. The Diva system, the heart of it all. This machine is right here, and so is Guido. Time to stop all of this nonsense. What is he doing? He's getting inside it. Oh, I can just blow this thing up with him in it. Oh, no, oh, who's this? Wait, oh, shit. Yeah, fool of me to think this was near the end. It's okay. It's only just begun. We wake up back at the school. But 6 months earlier? Did we go back in time? The hole in the wall is gone. Everyone is acting strangely, or rather, to them, we are the strange ones. Then we find Bruce, who's all beaten up, and we learn from him not only are we in a different time than we were, but a different world to our real one. And Bruce and Selena, who have been missing from our normal world for 2 months, have come here and been here all that time. So that means they've been here longer than the Diva system has been active. Something else is at play here. The Diva system has just made it worse. And as if it can't get any stranger, the police station is a forest now, and the hospital is a castle. Remember when Mary showed up demanding she was never in the hospital and didn't know what the police were? I knew there was something strange about her even the moment we were introduced to her, bedridden. So the Mary we know now is from this parallel world that we have now found ourselves in. And the demons are here too. In the school, it's no longer a safe haven. There must be some kind of rift between these two worlds connecting them. But what's the source? And who's this? Chris, who I should have apparently added to my party. Whatever I did not end up with that happening. So I have Brad. I love having him on my team. If I was able to do the Snow Queen quest, then Brad would have been the right choice. Chris is more integral to the main quest, though not required. But let's go back and try to get him anyway. Okay, with Chris now, and after beating the little girl in black's Robo-Rat, mind you, we're like a quarter of the way through the game at this point. After visiting more locations around the town of Lunarvale, such as the museum and subway, fighting this troll under the bridge, so to speak, to get past Yog Sothoth Jr., or Yoga Jr., the original naming coming from Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos, then entering the black market and a casino, learning about the Harem Queen. This being Selena, who was taken by the little girl in black upon entering this parallel world, and along with her jealousy of Mary, was corrupted by a magic mirror, which after telling the mirror to do as she wishes, adds another mole to her face. Mole. Making her just as ugly on the outside as she has become on the inside. But truth hurts, and when confronted, and we tell her her powers still can't make her better than Mary, she gives up. But Bruce comes in and tells her that he has always loved her and still does, even with her face covered in moles. Selena finally seeing that jealousy and outer beauty aren't something to be stuck up on, and hearing Bruce's words breaks the curse of the mirror, and her hate is gone. Shit is starting to get deep. I did not expect topics like this to be obstacles to overcome in a video game. This is teenage angst at its finest. Oh, what did Mark say earlier to her when we were upset with her? Oh, yeah, Mark didn't give a fuck. Then heading for the castle now, and partway through this enchanted forest lies a room, the little girl in white's room. Wait, she can't do anything for us? I thought we were finally getting somewhere. Yeah, I know, Mark. You and I are on the same page here. But we finally do get somewhere after defeating Guido. Oh wait, he's not dead yet. Oh dear lord, what is that? Oh, now he's defeated. And that seems to have shaken him loose of whatever was controlling him. Where is all of this stemming from? Mary. It's all Mary. This parallel world is inside her heart, so this utopia, or what was supposed to be, is a product of her being bedridden in the hospital and something inside her, something dark. Wait, so the Diva system also did it? Ah, it was constructed but not fully activated, and Mary and it linked, creating this other world that she longed for rather than living in the hospital. That's why the hospital became a castle where she could be instead of the hospital, and the police were not needed in this utopia, so it became a forest. Okay, I'm slowly starting to understand. The story is unraveling here, but we still have to return all of this back to normal. But then we need to confront Mary, at least the version controlling this world, and get her to change it back. Wait, the Mary that's been with us this whole time is the one we need. Oh, her face is gone. It's face off. Okay, this conversation gets really deep again, but the cast is speaking truth to Mary. Okay, that worked. She wants to help us fix everything. Good job, team. Where to go from here? Mary fixes Mary. Friendship is magic. But the dark side of Mary that started this opened up Pandora's box, quite literally because we have to fight Pandora. This is a Lovecraftian horror with Mary's face. She's beaten. Mary wants a word with me. That's not a word. That's a kiss. Philemon tells us it's all good now, then proceeds to T-pose and become 100 butterflies. Very good. And that's it. Everything goes back to normal. We even get to know how everything pans out for everyone. Damn. Okay. It really was me that I was playing as. What a message. Okay. So that was the good ending. For the bad ending, however, the town went back to normal, but at the expense of Mary running from her internal conflicts and locked herself in that parallel world. So some aura surrounds the real world and everyone is affected. Nobody confronts their own conflicts. It's just a dark place. Okay, well, that was Revelations Persona, and boy oh boy, did that not unfold in any way, shape, or form what I thought it would. That was something. So, how did it do on release? Very well, review-wise and sale-wise. Its sales record of 201,147 copies sold in its first week stood until Persona 5 in 2016 surpassed it. That's impressive. I had heard of these games for years, but never played them until now. At least the first one. And to be honest, they didn't quite seem like my kind of game. I would still stand by that, and you'll see that in my rating. But this game sure was something to spark such a successful franchise. It even had its own manga, which did follow the game to an extent, but the manga's creator, Shishu Ueda, was in contact with the three developers I talked about in the beginning of the video, Okada, Satomi, and Kaneko, and they encouraged him to make it his own story. He did, and those guys, when they read it, were surprised and loved the changes. With all that praise aside, I expected to really enjoy this game, predicting to give it an 8.25 out of 10. Which, I was blown away with the complexity of the story and the characters within, and the absolutely terrific soundtrack. These aspects can only take a game so far. In a similar way, in recent years that I've found it hard to pick up a Pokemon game, per se. Those repetitive battles here that can take like 10 minutes or more in Persona. It was a bit boring for me. That brings my overall enjoyment while playing to more of a chore to get through. Though not bad in the slightest, I'm giving Revelations Persona a 7 out of 10. Very well done, honestly. Not quite my style, though. But maybe it is yours. If so, and if you haven't played it before, give it a go. That rating puts it 13th overall in the list of games that I've played so far for this series, first for games of the same year, the other one being Bubsy 3D, so that was not hard to beat, first and only so far in the role-playing game genre, and third in its console category of PlayStation, behind Resident Evil 2 and Castlevania Symphony of the Night. In 1998, platform and the Sega Genesis still holding the most played of spots. This has been quite a long video for quite a long game. Not sure how many of these long ones I can put out each year. It really depends on the length of the game and the amount of history behind them, but I will have a video very soon informing you of what to expect this coming year. As for now, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll enjoy what I have in store. If you have any game recommendations, leave them in the comments below. That's all for now. See you next time.